Livia Grant was shaking so hard her phone almost slipped from her hand. She stood in the middle of a massive bedroom that smelled like money and old wood, staring at the man who had just ruined her entire night. Matteo De Luca. 30 years old. Tall. Dark hair pushed back like he couldn't be bothered. Tattoos crawling up his neck, disappearing under the collar of a black shirt that probably cost more than her rent. His hands were in his pockets, calm, like he hadn't just said the craziest thing she'd ever heard in her life. Marry me, Livia. Or you won't leave this house alive. His voice was low, almost gentle. That was the scariest part. Livia laughed. She couldn't help it. It came out sharp and nervous. Mate, are you high? We met 3 hours ago. Matteo didn't smile. Didn't move. Just looked at her with those grey eyes that made her stomach flip in the worst way. I'm not asking because I'm in love, he said. I'm telling you what keeps you breathing. My family already voted. You're a problem. The only thing that stops the order is if you're my blood. My wife. Livia's mouth went dry. She had come to this stupid fancy villa on the Amalfi Coast for one reason: extra cash. Her best friend Ashanti needed a +1 for a rich birthday party, and the pay for serving drinks was triple. Livia needed the money for her mum's hospital bills back in Croydon. Simple. Fly in, smile, fly out. Then she walked into the wrong corridor looking for the toilet and saw 3 men in suits dragging a screaming guy toward the basement. Blood on the floor. Real blood. And Matteo saw her see it. Now she was here. Locked door. No phone signal. Him blocking the only way out. You're joking, she whispered. I'm not. You can't just force someone to marry you. This is 2025, not Game of Thrones. Matteo finally moved. He stepped closer. Not fast, but close enough that she smelled his cologne, something expensive and cold. My family has been doing this since 1925, he said. Rules don't change because the year does. Her heart was banging so loud she could hear it in her ears. I'm nobody, she said. I'm a waitress from South London. I don't even have Instagram famous. Why would your people care about me? He reached into his pocket and pulled out a photograph. Held it up. It was her. Outside her flat in Brixton. Another one of her on the bus to work. Another of her hugging her mum outside King's College Hospital. Livia felt the floor tilt. You've been stalking me. Protecting you, he corrected. For 7 months. 7 months. That's when the weird stuff started. The feeling someone was watching. The black car that always parked across the road. The flowers left on her doorstep with no note. She thought it was her ex being creepy. It was him. Why? She asked, voice cracking. Because the first time I saw you, you smiled at an old man who dropped his shopping. You picked up his oranges. Didn't know anyone was watching. I knew then you were too good for my world. And too dangerous. Livia hugged herself. Tears were coming now, hot and angry. I want to go home. You walk out that door without my ring, you won't make it to the airport. She looked at the door. Then back at him. His face was hard, but his eyes, something soft flickered there. Guilt maybe. Or regret. Footsteps in the hallway. Heavy. More than one person. Matteo's whole body went tight. He grabbed her wrist, gentle but firm, and pulled her behind him like a shield. Whatever happens, he whispered. Don't run. They want you scared. The door opened. 2 men in suits walked in. One was young, maybe 25, same cheekbones as Matteo but colder eyes. The other was older, scar across his lip. The younger one smiled like a shark. Matteo. Council says the girl has to go. Tonight. Matteo didn't even blink. She's with me, Luca. Tell them to wait. Luca. His younger brother. Livia remembered the name from whispers at the party. The one who wanted Matteo's place as heir. The one who smiled too much. Luca looked at Livia like she was dirt. She saw Rico getting disciplined. Rules are rules. She'll be my wife by morning, Matteo said. That makes her untouchable. Luca laughed. Actually laughed. You'd marry trash to save her. Papa will love that. Matteo's hand tightened around Livia's wrist. She felt the tiny shake in his fingers. He was scared too. "Get out," Matteo told them. The older guy shrugged and left. Luca stayed a second longer, eyes locked on Livia. "Sleep tight, sweetheart," he said, then walked out. The door shut. Silence. Livia yanked her hand free. "Your own brother wants me dead." "Luca wants what I have," Matteo said quietly. "Killing you is the fastest way." She backed up until her legs hit the bed. Sat down hard. "I'm dreaming. This is a nightmare. I'm gonna wake up on the Ryanair flight with a sore neck." Matteo knelt in front of her so they were eye level. "I hate this," he said. "I hate that I dragged you into it. But I swear on my mother's grave, if you marry me, I will burn the world down before anyone touches you again." His voice cracked on the last word. Real crack. The first real thing she'd heard from him all night. Livia stared at him. Tears rolling now, couldn't stop them. "I don't even know you." "You know enough," he said. "You know I'm trying to keep you alive." She wiped her face with her sleeve. "And if I say no?" He didn't answer. Just looked down. That was the answer. Hours later, a private car took her back to her tiny Airbnb in Sorrento. Matteo insisted. Said it was safer than the villa tonight. He gave her his jacket because she was shaking from cold and fear. It smelled like him. He didn't kiss her. Didn't try. Just said, "Think about it. I'll come for your answer tomorrow." The second the car pulled away, Livia ran inside, locked every lock, pushed a chair under the door handle. She sat on the kitchen floor crying until her throat hurt. Her phone finally got signal. 12 missed calls from Ashanti. She was about to ring back when she heard it. Click. The balcony door she swore she locked. She froze. A figure in black stepped inside. Mask. Gloves. Knife catching the moonlight. Livia screamed. The masked person moved fast, straight for her. She threw the only thing in reach, the glass kettle. It smashed against the wall. Water everywhere. She ran for the front door, fingers fumbling with the chain. A hand clamped over her mouth from behind. Hot breath on her neck. "Should have said yes, sweetheart," the attacker whispered. Luca's voice. Then everything went black. If you're already hooked and your heart is racing, smash that like button right now and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Trust me, you would love it. Livia's head throbbed like someone had taken a hammer to it. She blinked against the light, her mouth tasting like copper and regret. The last thing she remembered was Luca's voice in her ear, that knife glinting, then nothing. Black. Gone. Now she was in a bed that wasn't hers. Soft sheets, too soft. A room that screamed money but felt like a cage. Her wrists ached from zip ties that were gone now, but the mark stayed red and angry. She sat up fast, heart slamming. The door was locked. No phone. No shoes. Just her in an oversized t-shirt that smelled like laundry soap and faint cologne. Matteo's cologne. That bastard. He did this. Staged the attack to scare her into saying yes. She knew it. The door clicked open. Matteo walked in, carrying a tray with tea and toast. His tattoos peeked from his rolled-up sleeves, inked stories she didn't want to read. He looked tired, shadows under his eyes, like he hadn't slept either. "You," she spat, grabbing the nearest thing, a glass of water, and hurling it at him. It splashed his shirt, but he didn't flinch. Just set the tray down slow, like she was a wild animal he didn't want to spook. "Livia, listen." "No. You set me up. Your psycho brother attacks me, knocks me out, and poof, I'm in your creepy mansion. What, you pay him to play bad guy? This is your sick way to force me to marry you." Her voice broke on the last word. Tears burned again, but she blinked them back. No way she'd cry in front of him. Not after this. Matteo rubbed his face, sitting on the edge of the bed. "Close, but not too close. I didn't touch you. Luca did that. I got there 2 minutes after. Found you on the floor, bleeding from your head. Brought you here because if I left you there, they'd finish it." "Liar." She scooted back, knees to her chest. "Why should I believe you? You've been spying on me for months. Photos of my mum. My flat. You're obsessed. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, voice dropping low. Obsessed? Maybe. But not the way you think. I saw you first at a cafe in Rome. You were laughing with your friend, spilling coffee everywhere. Real laugh. Not the fake one you do at work. I thought, that girl's light in a dark place. Then I checked you out. Standard. Make sure you're not trouble. But you stuck. Livia's stomach twisted. Not in a bad way. In a confusing one. His eyes held hers, raw, like he was peeling back a layer he kept hidden. But she shoved it down. No. He was Mafia. Dangerous. A liar. Get out, she said. Take me to the airport. I'll book my own flight home. Can't. Not yet. He stood, glancing at the window like something outside might hear. This is my safe house. Outside Naples. Walled up, guards everywhere. Luca's not the only one hunting you now. The council put a price on your head after you saw Rico. Council. Like some evil board meeting. She hugged her knees tighter. Then call the cops. Tell them everything. He laughed, short and bitter. Cops. In my world. They'd hand you over with a smile. Eat your toast. You need strength. She didn't touch it. But her stomach growled anyway. Traitor. Matteo sighed, picked up the tray, and walked out. The door locked behind him. Click. Alone again, Livia paced the room. Big, airy, with a balcony overlooking lemon groves that rolled down to the sea. Pretty, if you ignored the armed men patrolling the walls below. She tried the door, locked. The balcony. Bars on the glass, subtle but there. Prison with a view. Her head still hurt, a dull pulse where she'd hit the floor. She touched it, wincing. Blood crusted in her hair. Real. This was all real. Footsteps outside. Voices. Low, angry Italian. She pressed her ear to the door. Why this woman, Matteo? A waitress. From London. She smells like a setup. That voice, older, gravelly. Not Luca. She's clean, Uncle Vito. I checked. Matteo's voice, steady but edged. No ties. No games. A pause. Then, council doesn't buy it. You bring her in, we lose control. Marry her quick or we vote you out. Luca's waiting. The door rattled. Livia jumped back. Matteo's face appeared through the small window. Stay quiet, he mouthed. Then gone. Interrogation. About her. Why her? Because she was nobody, that's why. Easy to kill. Easy to forget. But now. She was a glitch in their machine. Hours dragged. Livia found clothes in the wardrobe. Jeans that fit perfect, tops in her size. Creepy. He really had been watching. She dressed, then explored. The room led to a sitting area. Bookshelves full of thrillers in English. She grabbed one, tried to read, but the words swam. Her mind raced instead. What if she ran? Climbed the wall? Swam the sea? Stupid. She'd drown or get shot. The door unlocked again. This time, a woman. Mid-40s, sharp bob, earrings like chandeliers. She carried fresh clothes and a first aid kit. Matteo sent me. I'm Rosa. His housekeeper. Let me fix that cut. Livia eyed her. You work for him. Know what he does. Rosa's hands paused, gentle on Livia's hair. Everyone knows. But we stay quiet. Safer that way. She dabbed antiseptic, cool and stinging. He's not like the others. Doesn't enjoy the hurt. Livia snorted. Says the guy who locked me up. Rosa smiled, small. Protection, Cara. Not prison. Eat something. You'll need it. She left a sandwich and vanished. Livia ate. Starving now. The bread was fresh, cheese sharp. Comfort food from a nightmare. As she chewed, the door opened wide. No lock this time. Matteo leaned in the frame, changed into a grey Henley that hugged his chest, tattoos peeking like secrets. Feel better? Worse. Heard your uncle. They think I'm a plant. A spy. He stepped in, closing the door soft. You're not. But suspicion spreads like fire here. Then let me go. Prove it. His jaw tightened. Tried. Council called while you slept. They're sending eyes. If you leave, you're dead by sunset. Livia's hands trembled. She balled them into fists. This is insane. I have a life. Mum's sick. Ashanti's texting me non-stop. I can't just disappear. Matteo's face softened. He sat across from her, close enough she could see the scar above his lip, thin and old. I know about your mum. The cancer. The bills stacking up. That's why I watched longer than I should. Wanted to help. Anonymous cash. Maybe. But then you saw too much. She froze. How do you? The photos. Remember. I know everything. And I swear, if you say yes, I'll fly her here. Best doctors. No more waiting lists. Hope flickered, tiny and warm. Relief, almost. Mum laughing again, pain-free. But it died fast. And I'm your trophy wife. Locked in gold bars. No. Partner. Real, in time. His voice dropped. I don't want this either. But Luca, his pushing. Thinks killing you makes him heir. A knock. Sharp. Matteo stood, alert. The door opened to a man Livia hadn't seen. Broad shoulders, buzz cut, eyes like chips of ice. Mid-30s, built like a wall. He nodded at Matteo, then stared at Livia. Too long. Boss. Perimeter's clear. But word from the boys. Strange car on the road earlier. Could be nothing. Matteo's best friend. Enzo. The name clicked from Rosa's gossip. Top guy, loyal to the bone. But now, Enzo's gaze on Livia screamed doubt. Spy. Trap. She saw it in the way his hand rested near his belt, where a gun probably hid. Good work, Matteo said. Keep watch. Enzo lingered. Her. Really? One night and she's in the safe house. Smells off. She's mine, Matteo snapped. Reg. Question it again, you're out. Enzo backed off, but not before shooting Livia a look that said, I'm watching you. Door shut. Tension hung thick. He's your friend, Livia whispered. And he thinks I'm the enemy. Matteo paced. Enzo's paranoid. Saved my life twice. But yeah, his sniffing. Great. Now his inner circle hated her too. Dusk fell. Matteo left her alone with a key to the main house. Roam, but don't leave. Trust. Or bait. She wandered halls lined with family portraits. Stern men, women with jewels. De Lucas, generation after generation. Cold eyes staring down. A turn led to a wing off limits. Signs in Italian. Vietato. No entry. Guards posted. But one stepped away for a smoke. Curiosity burned. What hid here? Guns. Bodies. Heart racing, palms sweaty, Livia slipped past. The hall narrowed, air cooler, dustier. Doors locked, but one at the end stood ajar. Faint light spilled out. Voices. No. Just hum of a machine. She pushed it open. Inside, shelves groaned under files. Old ones. Yellowed. Photos pinned to boards, faces she recognized from news. Politicians. Rivals. Maps with red lines snaking across Europe. But in the center, a locked case. Glass. Inside, a single folder. Thick. Marked Illinois Secreto. The secret. Her fingers itched. What if? Footsteps. Close. She grabbed the handle. Turned. The door swung wide. Livia's fingers froze on the cold metal handle. The room in front of her looked like a stalker's shrine, but 1,000 times worse. Walls covered in photos of her. Hundreds. Some from when she was 16, laughing on the Croydon tram with her old school braid. Some from last month, buying plantain outside Brixton Market. There was even one of her asleep on the night bus, cheek squished against the window. Her stomach flipped. She wanted to vomit. Under the pictures, shelves held neat little boxes. each one labeled with a year. She opened the closest. 2018. Inside, her old school reports, a hospital bracelet from when she broke her wrist at 14, a pressed flower from her nan's funeral. Things no stranger should ever have. Her knees buckled. She grabbed the table to stay up. There was a laptop open on the desk. Screen still glowing. A video paused, her mum in the cancer ward, waving at someone off camera, smiling weak but real. The timestamp said 3 weeks ago. Someone had been in that room with her mum. Filming. Livia's whole body went hot then ice cold. Matteo hadn't been watching her for 7 months. He'd been watching her for 14 years. She heard his voice in her head from last night. The first time I saw you was in Rome, 7 months ago. Liar. She spun around, ready to run and scream at him, when her eyes landed on the only framed photo on the desk. A young man, maybe 25, same grey eyes as Matteo, same sharp jaw, but softer smile. Tattoos only just starting on his neck. Written on the bottom in black pen, Alessandro De Luca, 1995 to 2021. Matteo's older brother. The one everyone said died in a car bomb 4 years ago. And stuck to the frame, her school picture from year 11. The one she hated because her braces looked massive. Alessandro had been the one collecting her life. Not Matteo. Livia's breath came out shaky. What the hell was this? She clicked the laptop trackpad. A folder opened called Livia. Do not delete. Inside were voice recordings. Hundreds. She pressed play on the oldest one, dated 2011. A boy's voice, younger, excited, a little nervous. Day 1. She helped an old lady cross the road today. Didn't even notice me. She's kinder than anyone I know. I have to keep her safe. One day she'll understand. Alessandro. Another recording, 2019. She got into uni. I'm so proud. I paid the first semester so her mum wouldn't worry. She'll never know it was me. Tears rolled down Livia's face without permission. This dead guy had paid for her nursing degree. She clicked another, last year. If anything happens to me, tell her the truth. Tell her I loved her first. Tell Matteo to protect her with his life. The recording cut off with a loud bang. Then silence. Livia stood there shaking, tears dripping onto the keyboard. Alessandro hadn't just watched her. He'd loved her. From afar. Like a ghost looking after her. And now Matteo was carrying on the job. Footsteps outside the door, heavy ones. She slammed the laptop shut and wiped her face quick. The door opened. Matteo stood there, face pale. You weren't supposed to see this, he whispered. You lied. She screamed, voice raw. 14 years. Not 7 months. Your dead brother was obsessed with me. Matteo stepped inside and closed the door soft. He wasn't obsessed. He was in love with you. And he asked me to keep you safe if he ever died. She laughed, ugly and broken. Funny, because half your family thinks he's still alive. Matteo froze. Who told you that? She froze. How do you? The photos. Remember. I know everything. And I swear, if you say yes, I'll fly her here. Best doctors. No more waiting lists. Hope flickered, tiny and warm. Relief, almost. Mum laughing again, pain-free. But it died fast. And I'm your trophy wife. Locked in gold bars. No. Partner. Real, in time. His voice dropped. I don't want this either. But Luca, his pushing. Thinks killing you makes him heir. A knock. Sharp. Matteo stood, alert. The door opened to a man Livia hadn't seen. Broad shoulders, buzz cut, eyes like chips of ice. Mid-30s, built like a wall. He nodded at Matteo, then stared at Livia. Too long. Boss. Perimeters clear. But word from the boys. Strange car on the road earlier. Could be nothing. Matteo's best friend. Enzo. The name clicked from Rosa's gossip. Top guy, loyal to the bone. But now, Enzo's gaze on Livia screamed doubt. Spy. Trap. She saw it in the way his hand rested near his belt, where a gun probably hid. Good work, Matteo said. Keep watch. Enzo lingered. Huh. Really? One night and she's in the safe house. Smells off. She's mine, Matteo snapped. Reg. Question it again, you're out. Enzo backed off, but not before shooting Livia a look that said, I'm watching you. Door shut. Tension hung thick. He's your friend, Livia whispered. And he thinks I'm the enemy. Matteo paced. Enzo's paranoid. Saved my life twice. But yeah, his sniffing. Great. Now his inner circle hated her too. Dusk fell. Matteo left her alone with a key to the main house. Roam, but don't leave. Trust. Or bait. She wandered halls lined with family portraits. Stern men, women with jewels. De Lucas, generation after generation. Cold eyes staring down. A turn led to a wing off limits. Signs in Italian. Vietato. No entry. Guards posted, but one stepped away for a smoke. Curiosity burned. What hid here? Guns. Bodies. Heart racing, palms sweaty, Livia slipped past. The hall narrowed, air cooler, dustier. Doors locked, but one at the end stood ajar. Faint light spilled out. Voices. No. Just hum of a machine. She pushed it open. Inside, shelves groaned under files. Old ones. Yellowed. Photos pinned to boards, faces she recognized from news. Politicians. Rivals. Maps with red lines snaking across Europe. But in the center, a locked case. Glass. Inside, a single folder. Thick. Marked Illinois Segreto. The secret. Her fingers itched. What if? Footsteps. Close. She grabbed the handle. Turned. The door swung wide. Livia's fingers froze on the cold metal handle. The room in front of her looked like a stalker's shrine, but 1,000 times worse. Walls covered in photos of her. Hundreds. Some from when she was 16, laughing on the Croydon tram with her old school braid. Some from last month, buying plantain outside Brixton Market. There was even one of her asleep on the night bus, cheek squished against the window. Her stomach flipped. She wanted to vomit. Under the pictures, shelves held neat little boxes, each one labeled with a year. She opened the closest, 2018. Inside, her old school reports, a hospital bracelet from when she broke her wrist at 14, a pressed flower from her nan's funeral. Things no stranger should ever have. Her knees buckled. She grabbed the table to stay up. There was a laptop open on the desk. Screen still glowing. A video paused, her mum in the cancer ward, waving at someone off camera, smiling weak but real. The timestamp said 3 weeks ago. Someone had been in that room with her mum. Filming. Livia's whole body went hot then ice cold. Matteo hadn't been watching her for 7 months. He'd been watching her for 14 years. She heard his voice in her head from last night. The first time I saw you was in Rome, 7 months ago. Liar. She spun around, ready to run and scream at him, when her eyes landed on the only framed photo on the desk. A young man, maybe 25, same grey eyes as Matteo, same sharp jaw, but softer smile. Tattoos only just starting on his neck. Written on the bottom in black pen, Alessandro De Luca, 1995 to 2021. Matteo's older brother. The one everyone said died in a car bomb 4 years ago. And stuck to the frame, her school picture from year 11. The one she hated because her braces looked massive. Alessandro had been the one collecting her life. Not Matteo. Livia's breath came out shaky. What the hell was this? She clicked the laptop trackpad. A folder opened called Livia. Do not delete. Inside were voice recordings. Hundreds. She pressed play on the oldest one, dated 2011. A boy's voice, younger, excited, a little nervous. Day 1. She helped an old lady cross the road today. Didn't even notice me. She's kinder than anyone I know. I have to keep her safe. One day she'll understand. Alessandro. Another recording, 2019. She got into uni. I'm so proud. I paid the first semester so her mum wouldn't worry. She'll never know it was me. Tears rolled down Livia's face without permission. This dead guy had paid for her nursing degree. She clicked another, last year. If anything happens to me, tell her the truth. Tell her I loved her first. Tell Matteo to protect her with his life. The recording cut off with a loud bang. Then silence. Livia stood there shaking, tears dripping onto the keyboard. Alessandro hadn't just watched her. He'd loved her. From afar. Like a ghost looking after her. And now Matteo was carrying on the job. Footsteps outside the door, heavy ones. She slammed the laptop shut and wiped her face quick. The door opened. Matteo stood there, face pale. You weren't supposed to see this, he whispered. You lied. She screamed, voice raw. 14 years. Not 7 months. Your dead brother was obsessed with me. Matteo stepped inside and closed the door soft. He wasn't obsessed. He was in love with you. And he asked me to keep you safe if he ever died. She laughed, ugly and broken. Funny, because half your family thinks he's still alive. Matteo froze. Who told you that? I hear things, Matteo. People talk when they think the random girl isn't listening. Rosa said the bomb never had a body. Enzo said Alessandro's accounts still move money. Is he alive? Was I the reason he got blown up? Matteo's whole face changed. Pain, real pain. No, he said quiet. You were the reason he stayed soft. The reason he wanted out. And the reason certain people wanted him gone. Livia hugged herself, rocking a little. I never even met him. You did, Matteo said. You just don't remember. You were 12. He was 17. You gave him your umbrella in the rain outside the chicken shop. Told him his tattoos looked cool. He never forgot it. Her chest hurt. Like actual pain. She looked around at the walls of her life and felt sick and seen and terrified all at once. Why keep all this? Because it was his heart, Matteo said. And because some nights I sit here and play his recordings just to hear my brother's voice again. Silence stretched. Heavy. Then Matteo's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his face went stone. Council just called an emergency meeting. They want you brought in. Tonight. As bait. Bait for what? For Alessandro, he said. They think if he really is alive, he'll come running the second he hears you're in danger. Livia's blood went cold. You're handing me over. Never. He stepped closer, eyes fierce. But they're coming here. With guns. And if we run, Luca wins everything. She backed away until she hit the desk. Her hand brushed something hard under a pile of files, a slim black phone. Old model. Taped to the bottom of the drawer. It started ringing. Loud in the quiet room. The screen lit up. One word glowing green. Livia. She stared at it. Matteo stared at it. Neither of them moved. It kept ringing. Livia stared at the black phone in her hand like it was a bomb. It kept ringing. Livia flashing over and over. Matteo reached for it slow, like one wrong move and everything would explode. Don't, she whispered. Her voice sounded tiny. He stopped. It could be him. Or it could be a trick. The ringing cut off. Silence screamed louder. Then a text slid across the screen. One line. Say yes to the ring. I'm closer than you think. Livia's legs gave out. She sat hard on the dusty floor, tears coming fast now. Matteo crouched beside her, not touching, just there. We don't have time to figure this out tonight, he said, voice low. The council is already on the road. If you're not wearing my ring when they walk in, we're both dead. She looked up at him, mascara probably running, looking a hot mess. So what, I just say yes and pretend. Exactly. Staged. Papers, pictures, the whole show. After, we find out who's really texting. Together. She laughed, wet and broken. You want me to fake marry the brother of the ghost who's been in love with me since I had braces? He gave the tiniest smile. Welcome to my life. An hour later she was in a dressing room the size of her old flat, staring at a diamond the size of a skittle. Rosa zipped her into a silk white dress that hugged every curve. Simple, classy, but still made her feel like a fraud. "You look beautiful, Cara," Rosa whispered. "Breathe." Livia couldn't. Her ribs felt too tight. In the mirror she saw a stranger. Hair in soft curls, lips red, eyes scared. Matteo walked in wearing a black tux, no tie, top buttons open so the neck tattoos peeked out. He looked illegal. He stopped dead when he saw her. Actually stopped breathing for a second. "Jesus, Livia." "Don't," she warned. "This is fake, remember?" "Yeah," he said, voice rough. "Fake." But the way he looked at her didn't feel fake at all. The engagement party was really a council meeting with extra candles. 30 scary people in suits and gowns sitting around a long table on the terrace. Luca smirking at the end like he'd already won. Uncle Vito puffing a cigar. And a woman Livia had never seen before. Tall, glossy black hair, red dress tight as jealousy. Isabella Romano. The Mafia princess who grew up believing she'd marry the De Luca heir one day. Her eyes drilled holes straight through Livia. Matteo held Livia's hand under the table the whole time. Warm. Steady. When the priest asked if anyone objected, Isabella's smile could cut glass. Luca raised his glass. "To my brother finally settling. Hope the bride knows what she's signed up for." Livia squeezed Matteo's fingers so hard her nails left marks. After the fake vows, quick, cold, legal enough to count, Matteo slid the ring on. It fit perfect. Of course it did. He leaned in like he was going to kiss her cheek for the photos. Instead his lips brushed her ear. "You're safe now. I've got you." Her stupid heart flipped. Later, when the old men were drunk and arguing, a new bodyguard appeared at her side. Tall, light-skinned, dreads tied neat, maybe 28. Pretty smile that felt real. "Miss Grant, I'm Jalen. Mr. Matteo assigned me to you personally." Jamaican accent, soft and warm like home. She liked him instantly. "You don't look Italian," she said. "Monego Bay born," he grinned. "But I've been with Matteo since he saved my little sister from some bad men in Miami. Loyal for life." For the first time all night, Livia relaxed a tiny bit. Isabella cornered her by the dessert table. "You think a ring changes anything?" she hissed, voice pure venom. "He was promised to me since we were children. Enjoy your little fairy tale. It ends in blood." Livia's temper snapped. "Lady, I didn't ask for any of this. Back off." Isabella smiled sweet, then accidentally poured red wine down the front of Livia's white dress. "Oops." Jalen appeared out of nowhere, hand on Livia's back, guiding her away before she could swing. "Let her bark," he murmured. "Dogs that loud usually get put down first." Livia actually laughed. Real laugh. First one in days. Upstairs, away from the noise, Matteo found her changing out of the ruined dress. She stood there in just a slip, wine stains on the floor. He closed the door soft. "I'm sorry about Isabella. Add her to the list of people trying to kill me. I'm keeping count." He stepped closer, eyes dark. "Look at me." She did. "I meant what I said in the ceremony. Even if it's fake on paper, I'll protect you like it's real." Her throat went tight. "Stop being nice. It's confusing." "Can't help it," he said. "You in that dress nearly stopped my heart." The air went thick. She should step back. Should remind him this was pretend. Instead she whispered, "You clean up nice too." He reached out, thumb brushing a streak of wine off her collarbone. Slow. Careful. Like she might break. Or like he might. Their faces were inches apart when the black phone in her clutch buzzed again. She pulled it out with shaky fingers. New message. "Tell him the scar on his left rib is from me. Ask him why he never told you we used to share everything. Watch his face." Livia's eyes flicked to Matteo's shirt. He saw the question before she asked. "Where'd you get that scar?" she said, voice barely there. He went pale. "Alessandro told you." "No. He texted." She turned the phone so he could read. Matteo looked like he'd been punched. We shared a lot growing up, he said finally. More than brothers should. The meaning hung heavy. Livia felt dizzy. Another text pinged. He's lying again. I'm not dead. And I'm coming for what's mine. Before she could process, music downstairs stopped dead. A woman screamed. Then a single gunshot cracked through the night, loud enough to rattle the windows. Matteo grabbed her hand and ran. The gunshot still echoed in Livia's ears when Matteo dragged her down the marble stairs. People were screaming, running, glass shattering. She saw Isabella on the floor, red blooming across her chest, eyes wide open staring at nothing. Blood pooled under her perfect red dress. Someone had shot the Mafia princess right in the middle of the engagement toast. Matteo shoved Livia behind a pillar, gun already in his hand like it lived there. Stay low, he barked. Jalen appeared beside them, 2 guns now, eyes wild but steady. Luca's men, he shouted over the noise. They're locking the gates. This is a coup. Livia's heart was trying to punch its way out of her chest. Luca. Of course it was Luca. He wanted the throne and now he was taking it with bullets. Sirens in the distance, someone had called the carabinieri, which meant everyone had 10 minutes before the whole place got swarmed. Matteo grabbed her face with both hands, forcing her to look at him. Listen to me. You run with Jalen. Boat at the back dock. Keys in the plant pot. Don't stop for anyone. No, she cried. I'm not leaving you. He kissed her quick, hard, desperate. I love you, he said against her lips. Now go. Jalen pulled her away while Matteo disappeared into the smoke and shouting. They made it to the dock, jumping into a speedboat that smelled like salt and petrol. Jalen gunned the engine and they shot into the black water, bullets pinging off the side. Livia looked back once. The villa was on fire. Orange flames licking the sky. She couldn't see Matteo anywhere. Hours later, hidden in a tiny flat above a pizzeria in Naples, Jalen finally let her breathe. She sat on the sofa shaking, wrapped in his hoodie because hers had Isabella's blood splattered on it. Her phone was gone. The black phone too. Jalen handed her a burner. Call your mum quick. 5 seconds. She did. Heard her mum's sleepy voice say hello. And Livia whispered I love you before Jalen took it away. She cried then. Ugly, loud sobs that hurt her throat. Next morning the news was everywhere. Italian headlines screaming. Mafia massacre on Amalfi coast. De Luca heir missing, presumed dead. Younger brother claims leadership. Livia stared at the TV, numb. Matteo. Gone. Then the door opened. Luca walked in like he owned the world. 2 armed men behind him. Jalen reached for his gun but Luca's guys were faster. 1 punch and Jalen hit the floor. Luca smiled that same shark smile. Hello, sweetheart. Time for a new deal. He sat across from her, legs crossed, calm as Sunday morning. Matteo's probably fish food by now. The family needs a leader. That's me. You're going to help. Livia wiped her face, voice raw. Never. Luca slid a folder across the table. Inside, old police reports, grainy photos, a newspaper clipping from 2001. A little girl holding a woman's hand outside a courthouse in London. The woman was her mum. The headline. Kingpin's mistress testifies. Sentence 25 years. Livia's world tilted. Her mum, quiet, church every Sunday Keisha Grant, was the reason a major London drug lord went down 2 decades ago. She had been his secret girlfriend. Turned witness. Got protection, new name, new life in Croydon. And never told Livia. You're the daughter of the woman who destroyed the Calabrian pipeline, Luca said, almost gentle. That evidence your mum gave. Still has names in it. Powerful names. My father's name. If that file surfaces again, half the old council goes to prison for life. Livia couldn't speak. You, Luca continued, are the key. Your blood matches the sealed documents. 1 DNA test and the whole case reopens. That's why Alessandro hid you. That's why Matteo kept you close. You're a walking bomb. Her hand shook so bad the folder slipped. Luca leaned in. Here's the new ultimatum. Marry me tomorrow. Publicly take my side. Say Matteo kidnapped you, force the engagement, all that drama. You become my perfect little wife, and the file stays buried. Your mum keeps breathing. You keep breathing. And if I don't? He shrugged. I leak everything tonight. Your mum gets dragged out of that hospital bed in handcuffs. You get found in the bay with Isabella. Livia stared at him. Hate burning so hot she could taste it. She wanted to spit in his face. Instead she whispered, "Give me one night to think." Luca smiled like he'd already won. Smart girl. Midnight tomorrow. Cathedral steps. Wear white. He left. His men dragged Jalen out too, alive, but barely. Alone, Livia sat in the dark flat and cried until there was nothing left. Then she found the one thing Luca's men missed. Taped under the sofa, the black phone. Screen cracked but working. One new message waiting. Don't trust Luca. Wedding is a trap. I'm alive. Come to me tonight. I'll explain everything. Another text popped right after. Photo attached. Matteo. Tied to a chair. Bruised, bloody, but breathing. Caption. His bait too. Midnight. Old lighthouse. Come alone or he dies. Livia's hand stopped shaking. Something cold and hard settled in her chest. She wasn't the scared waitress anymore. She was the girl both brothers were ready to burn the world for. And tomorrow one of them was going to learn what happened when you pushed her too far. She grabbed Jalen's spare keys, slipped out the back door, and disappeared into the Naples night. By morning, no one could find her. Not Luca. Not the council. Not even the ghost sending texts. The bride was gone. Livia woke up with a hood over her head and the taste of chloroform still burning her throat. Her wrists were tied in front of her, not tight enough to hurt, just enough to remind her she wasn't free. The car stopped. Doors opened. Salt air hit her face. Someone lifted her out like she weighed nothing, set her on her feet, and yanked the hood off. She blinked against lantern light. An old lighthouse, crumbling, windows smashed. The same one from the photo. And standing in front of her was a man she'd only ever seen in pictures. Alessandro De Luca. Alive. Breathing. Taller than Matteo, leaner. Scars she didn't recognize crossing his arms and neck like someone had tried to erase him and failed. His eyes were the same grey, but softer. Tired. He looked at her like she was water and he'd been lost in the desert for years. Livia, he said, voice cracking on her name. I'm sorry they scared you. She stumbled back, ropes biting her wrists. You're dead. Everyone said. Everyone was told to say that. He stepped closer, slow, hands open. I had to disappear. To keep you safe. To keep both of us safe. Behind him, two men stood in the shadows. One of them was Jalen. Her bodyguard. Her friend. The one who'd made her laugh the night Isabella died. Now he wouldn't meet her eyes. You, she whispered. You took me. Jalen's jaw clenched. I had no choice, Liv. Bullshit, she shouted, voice raw. You work for Matteo. I work for Alessandro, he said quiet. Always have. Alessandro raised a hand and the ropes fell away, cut clean. He didn't touch her, just stood there letting her see him. Really see him. The real one. Not the ghost in the recordings. I never wanted you dragged into this, he said. But Luca forced my hand. And Matteo. Matteo's not who you think. She laughed, sharp and broken. Everyone keeps saying that about everyone. I'm sick of it. Alessandro pulled out a metal chair, sat her down gentle, then knelt so they were eye level. Listen to me. Everything you think you know is a lie they built together. He laid it out, calm, like he'd practiced this speech in the dark for years. 4 years ago I found the original file. The one with your mum's testimony. It didn't just name my father. It named Matteo. He was 19. Already moving weight through London clubs. My father covered for him. I wanted to burn the file, get us both out. Matteo said no. He wanted the power. When I pushed, he set the bomb himself. Made it look like rivals. He walked away with a few scars. I lost 3 fingers and half my face under the bandages. He held up his left hand. 2 fingers missing. Livia's stomach lurched. Matteo told the family I died. Took the air spot. And kept watching you, because he knew one day that file could resurface. He needed you close. Controlled. The perfect little weapon. She shook her head hard. No. He protected me. He took bullets for me. He staged every attack, Alessandro said softly. Luca works for him now. They played good brother, bad brother, so you'd run straight into Matteo's arms. The marriage. Insurance. Once you're his wife, no one can force you to testify or open that file. You become De Luca property. Silent forever. Her chest hurt. Actual pain. She thought of Matteo's kisses. The way he said I love you before the gunfire. The scar on his rib. Every gentle touch now felt poisoned. Alessandro reached into his jacket and pulled out a small velvet box. Opened it. Inside was a tiny gold necklace. A locket. He clicked it open. 2 baby pictures. One of her at 6 months. One of a little boy with the same grey eyes. I bought this the day I decided to leave the life, he said. Planned to find you, tell you everything, ask you to run with me. Then the bomb went off. Tears rolled down her face. She couldn't stop them. I don't know who to believe anymore, she whispered. Alessandro brushed one tear away with his thumb. Real careful. I know. That's why I'm not asking you to choose tonight. I'm asking you to listen to the rest. He stood, walked to a table, and pressed play on an old tape recorder. Matteo's voice filled the lighthouse, cold and clear, dated 3 weeks ago. Once she's wearing the ring, the threat is neutralized. If Alessandro ever crawls out of hiding, we use her as bait, finish what we started. Luca gets the credit, I stay clean. She'll never know. The tape clicked off. Livia's whole body went numb. Alessandro watched her, pain in his eyes. I staged tonight, he said. Jalen took you so you'd hear the truth from someone who isn't trying to own you. I'm not here to force another ring on you, Livia. I'm here to give you the choice I never got. He stepped back, hands in his pockets. Option 1. You come with me. We disappear. New names, new country, far from all of this. Your mum gets the best treatment money can buy, anonymously. You never have to see another De Luca. He paused. Option 2. You don't trust me either. You walk out that door right now. Jalen will drive you to the British Embassy. You tell them everything. You blow the whole thing open. I'll be arrested with the rest. Maybe I deserve it. The lighthouse was dead quiet. Just waves crashing below and her heartbeat in her ears. She looked at Alessandro. Really looked. The missing fingers. The burned scars peeking from his collar. The way he stood far enough that she didn't feel trapped. Then she thought of Matteo's mouth on hers, warm and lying. What happens if I pick neither? She asked, voice shaking. Alessandro's eyes softened. Then we sit here until sunrise and you ask every question you need. No rush. No guns. Just the truth. Livia wrapped her arms around herself, rocking a little. Her whole life had been a chessboard and she'd only just seen the pieces. Now they were asking her to make the final move. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Looked at the open door. Looked at Alessandro waiting. Patient, wrecked, alive. Looked at the locket still in his hand. And she had to choose. Livia stared at Alessandro for what felt like hours. Then she looked at the open door. Then at Jalen, who still wouldn't meet her eyes. She took one step toward freedom. Stopped. Turned back to Alessandro. Show me the rest, she said, voice flat. All of it. His shoulders dropped, relief and pain mixed. He nodded once. Jalen moved to close the door. That's when everything went to hell. The lighthouse door exploded inward. Wood splintered. Luca stormed in with 6 men, guns up. Jalen spun, pulling his own weapon, but one of Luca's guys shot him point blank in the chest. Jalen looked down at the red spreading across his hoodie, shocked, like he couldn't believe it happened to him. He dropped. Dead before he hit the floor. Livia screamed. Alessandro shoved her behind him, firing back. 2 of Luca's men went down. The rest spread out. Luca laughed, loud and crazy. "Big brother crawls out the grave just in time for his own funeral," he shouted. "Perfect." Alessandro kept shooting, calm, counting bullets. Livia's ears rang. Blood sprayed the wall. She crawled to Jalen, pressed her hands to the hole in his chest, warm and wet. "Stay with me," she begged. "Please." Jalen's eyes found hers. Blood bubbled on his lips. "I'm sorry, Liv," he rasped. "He paid my sister's debt. I had to pick a side." Then his eyes went blank. Alessandro grabbed her arm, yanked her up. "We have to move." They ran for the spiral stairs that led to the top of the lighthouse. Bullets chased them, chipping stone. Luca's voice echoed below. "You can't run forever, Alessandro. The family voted tonight. You're both dead." They reached the lantern room, slammed the rusty door, shoved an old crate against it. Alessandro's arm was bleeding bad now. Livia ripped her sleeve, tied it tight above the wound. He watched her with something close to wonder. "You should have left when you had the chance," he said. "Shut up and help me think," she snapped. Below, boots pounded the stairs. Alessandro pulled a tablet from a dusty shelf, fingers flying across the screen. Old security feed popped up, grainy but clear. Luca's men spreading out. Then another feed, hidden camera in the villa office. Matteo was there. Alive. Untied. Laughing with Luca on a phone call an hour old. Livia's heart cracked clean in half. The gunshot at the party, the fire, the missing air, all theater. Matteo and Luca had been working together the whole time. Alessandro wasn't the villain. He was the only one telling the truth. "I told you," Alessandro said, voice soft. "They played us both." The tablet screen changed. A new file opened itself. DNA results. 2 names side by side. Livia Keisha Grant. Alessandro Matteo De Luca. Match probability. 99.9998%. Relationship. Half siblings. Livia made a sound like someone punched her soul out. "No." "Yes," Alessandro said, eyes wet. "My father had an affair in London, 1999. Your mum. When she testified and disappeared, he never knew she was pregnant. I found out last year. That's when I started protecting you for real. Not as a stranger. As family." The door shook below. They were breaking through. Livia couldn't breathe. Half-sister. The boy who paid her uni fees, sent anonymous gifts, recorded her laugh, was her blood. And the man she'd kissed, the man she thought she was falling for, was the enemy. Alessandro grabbed her hands. "Listen. There's a boat under the rocks. 10 meters down the cliff path. I can hold them off. You take the keys." "No," she shouted. "We go together or not at all." He smiled, small and sad. "You really are De Luca." The door splintered open. Luca stepped in first, gun raised. Behind him, Matteo. Clean suit. Not a scratch. He looked at Livia like she was a problem to solve. "Found our little runaway," Luca grinned. Matteo didn't smile. He looked at Alessandro, then at Livia, then at the tablet still glowing with the DNA proof. His face went white. "Livia," Matteo said, voice almost gentle. "Come here. It's over." She stepped forward. Alessandro tried to pull her back but she shook him off. She walked straight to Matteo. Looked up into the eyes she once thought were safe. "You used me," she said. "I protected you," he answered. "You let them kill Jalen." He picked the wrong side. "You're my brother's brother," she whispered. "And you tried to cage me." Matteo's jaw tightened. Then he raised his gun, not at her. At Alessandro. "Say goodbye to your ghost story," he told Livia. Everything slowed. Livia saw the finger tighten. Saw Alessandro's eyes close, ready. She didn't think. She just moved. She grabbed the gun from Matteo's belt, the one he always kept there, and pulled the trigger. Once. Twice. Matteo looked down, shocked, blood spreading fast across his white shirt. He dropped to his knees. The gun slipped from his hand. He looked up at her, confused, hurt, like a little boy who didn't understand why the game changed. "Livia," he rasped. Then fell face first onto the cold stone. Luca roared and lunged for her. Alessandro tackled him. They crashed into the railing. The old metal gave way. Both men tumbled over the edge, 30 meters straight down onto the rocks below. Silence. Just wind and her heartbeat. Livia stood alone in the lantern room, gun shaking in her hand. Blood on her dress. Matteo bleeding out at her feet. Her half-brother somewhere broken on the rocks. The two men who shaped her nightmare, gone in seconds. She dropped the gun, sank to the floor, and screamed until her voice gave out. Livia's scream died into a sob. The lighthouse smelled like gunpowder and salt. Matteo's blood pooled warm around her bare knees. She stared at his face, still beautiful even in death, and felt nothing but hollow. Then a groan came from below the broken railing. Weak. Human. Alessandro. Alive. She scrambled to the edge, heart slamming. He hung one-armed from a rusty pipe 10 meters down, the fall broken by fishing nets and sheer luck. His face was shredded, blood pouring from his scalp, but his eyes found hers. "Go," he rasped. "Boat, now, they're coming." Headlights swept the cliff road. More cars. The council. They'd heard the shots. In minutes this place would be swarming. Livia made it down the crumbling steps on shaking legs. She tied a rope around Alessandro's chest and hauled with everything she had. He screamed when his broken ribs moved, but he helped, fingers slipping on blood. Together they fell onto the rocks just as flashlights hit the top of the lighthouse. She dragged him to the tiny boat hidden under the cliff. Pushed off into the black water. The engine coughed once, twice, then roared. Behind them, shouts. Gunfire. Bullets skipped the waves. But the darkness swallowed them whole. 3 weeks later. A quiet church in a tiny village outside Palermo. White flowers everywhere. Only 12 people in the pews. Old women in black, a couple of nervous priests, Rosa crying happy tears in the front row. Livia stood at the back doors in a simple lace dress, no veil. Her mum sat in a wheelchair at the front, cancer in remission, cheeks fuller than they'd been in years. She smiled at Livia like she already knew the secret. The organ started. Livia walked alone. No one to give her away. She didn't need it. At the altar stood Alessandro. Still healing. Arm in a sling, face scarred, walking with a cane. But alive. And looking at her like she was the only real thing left in his world. The priest spoke fast. Italian, then English for her mum. When he got to the vows, Alessandro took her hands. His voice was rough from the damage, but steady. "I spent years loving you from the shadows," he said. "I never deserved you. I still don't. But if you let me, I'll spend the rest of my life earning the right to stand next to you. Not to own you. Never that. Just to keep you safe. To keep you free. To love you out loud for once." Livia's eyes filled. She thought of the boy who sent anonymous money for her schoolbooks. Who recorded her laugh because it was the only light he had. Who took a bomb meant for both of them and still crawled back to save her. "I spent my whole life thinking no one saw me," she said, voice shaking but clear. "Turns out someone saw me so clearly he almost died for it. You gave me a family I never knew I had. You gave me the truth, even when it broke us both. I don't want to run anymore. I want to stand still, with you." She slipped a ring on his finger. Plain gold. No diamonds. He slid its match on hers. The priest smiled. "You may kiss your wife." Alessandro cupped her face gentle, like she might vanish. The kiss was soft, slow, tasting like salt and second chances. When they pulled apart, her mum was crying happy tears, Rosa was clapping, and the old women were crossing themselves like they'd witnessed a miracle. Later, on the church steps, Alessandro leaned on his cane and spoke to the tiny crowd. "The De Luca name dies today," he said. "Every account, every territory, every dirty secret. I've signed it over to the prosecutors. Anonymously. By tomorrow morning half the council will be in cuffs. The rest will spend the rest of their lives running. There is no more empire." Gasps. Whispers. Rosa smiled like she'd known all along. He looked at Livia. We're free. 6 months after that. A small house on the coast of Jamaica. Blue shutters, mango tree in the yard, reggae drifting from a neighbor's speaker. Livia, now Livia DeLuca, sat on the veranda painting her mum's nails bright coral. Her mum laughed at something on the TV inside. Healthy. Strong. Happy. Alessandro limped out with 2 cups of sorrel. Still healing, but every day a little steadier. He handed her one, kissed the top of her head, then rested his hand on the small curve of her belly that was just starting to show. You okay? He asked, voice low. She looked out at the Caribbean glittering like it was made of diamonds. I shot a man, she said quietly. I watched another fall. I burned an empire to the ground. And I still wake up some nights scared it was all a dream. He sat beside her, took her hand. Then let me remind you every morning that it's real. That we made it. That we're here. She turned to him, eyes shining. I married the man everyone thought was a ghost, she said. Turns out he was the only one who was ever really alive. He smiled, the soft one only she ever got to see. And I married the girl who saved me long before I saved her. The baby kicked. They both laughed, startled and teary. Her mum called from inside, dinner ready, you 2 lovebirds. Livia stood, took his hand, and they walked inside together. No guards. No guns. No ultimatums. Just love. Hard one, blood-soaked, but finally theirs. If you made it here with me, thank you. From the first gunshot to this quiet veranda, you rode every twist. Drop a comment and tell me where in the world you just watched this from. I read every single one. If this story made you cry, scream, or fall in love, hit that subscribe button. Because there are more stories coming that will wreck you in the best way. Until next time, stay safe, stay kind, and choose the person who sees you clearly, even from the shadows. Love you. See you soon.